3, 2, 1. Hello everybody and welcome back to World of Warships Legends and welcome back to the new patch. Yeah, that's right. We got all the new content out here. So first of all, we're going to start out with taking a look at the new premium Tier 7 American battleship, the Georgia. So, with that being said, let's look at our commander. We are running William Sims. We are running Scharnhorst and Andrew Cunningham as our inspirations. Okay? Going back to our roots of the full dispersion builds, right? Then we're running Flammable Cannoneer. We are running Gyrating Drill Bits. We're running Marksmanship and Reaching Out XXL, which is unusual because I usually go with Emergency Specialist. But in this case, we're going with the Reaching Out XXL. But we also have Will to Rebuild. Okay? Now, if we look at the stats, or our equipment, we are running AA Guns Mod 2 for those times where you get into against carriers. We are running Steering Gears Mod 2. Concealment, or not, sorry, not Concealment. Target Acquisition Mod, because American battleships don't get concealment mods. Be too powerful, right? So, Artillery Plotting Room Mod 2 is our final equipment slot. We are running the Spotter Plane. Notice that we do get an engine boost with the Georgia, which is fantastic. Really comes in handy. I love it. And it's a 3-minute engine boost at that. You get 2 of them total, obviously. We're using the camo that comes with the ship and the community contributor flag. We are not running any boosters currently, so everything that you're about to see will be, if you build it this way, this is what you'll end up with. Provided that you have a level 16 Legendary 4 William Sims with good commander inspirations as well. So keep that in mind. 65,800 hit points with a 26% torpedo damage reduction. It's basically the same as the Iowa. It gets 1% better torpedo protection than the Iowa. Slightly more hit points, I believe. Then we have the main batteries. You have 457mm Mark 1s. You have 6 of them. What do you mean 457? Yeah, 18-inch guns at Tier 7. Now, keep in mind, these are not the 460mm 18-inch overmatching guns that you get on the Yamato. Okay, keep that in mind. These guns do not overmatch 32mm of bow plating. Meaning that if somebody has at least 32mm of bow, aka most Tier 7 battleships, you're not going to go straight through their bow. Keep that in mind. However, you can definitely tear apart their decks with these. Now, the reload is very good at 26 seconds, right there with the Yamato. The 180-degree turn time is 32.7, so also not terrible. Not amazing, but not bad. Okay, HE shell maximum damage of 6,450 with a 43% chance to set fire. And the AP shells, some of the hardest hitting AP you're ever going to get hit by, 17,325 maximum damage. With the 127mm Mark 38s, you have 20 of those. They reach out to 5 kilometers and do reload every 6 seconds. They have 1,800 maximum damage from the HE shells and 5% chance to set fires. AA defense. You have 40 20mm Orlikins, or yeah, you guys know how I say this. 144 damage per second and reload or reach out to 2.4 kilometers. Then you have 40mm Bofors that you have 16 times 4. I always do this wrong. That'd be 48, or 48, good God, 64 40mm Bofors Marks 2s that do 254 damage per second, reach out to 4.2 kilometers. And you have your 127mm Mark 38s that you have 20 of and do 151 damage per second, reach out to 6 kilometers. Maneuverability. The ship is capable of 29.7 knots without the engine boost running. With the engine boost, it goes faster. Turning circle radius is 890 meters, and the rudder shift is 14.8. This ship handles very much like an Iowa. Very much like an Iowa. If you're used to the Iowa, you'll know how this thing feels. So being able to come straight in here and play this ship, well, I have actually enjoyed it so far. Okay? The 29.7 knot top speed, by the way, keep in mind that that is reduced from its maximum that it could be because we are running gyrating drill bits. Okay? Concealment. You have 14.8 kilometer surface detection. You have a 12.4 kilometer detection by air, and you have a 2 as always guaranteed, and a 15 kilometer smoke firing penalty. Here's where things get interesting. This will look very familiar to most that play pretty much any American battleship, especially the Iowa. The Iowa has armor, just like this, pretty much. It could be exactly like this. I think this is literally an Iowa that has 18-inch guns, essentially. Somebody can prove me wrong, but I don't think you're going to. Either way, we have 32 millimeter bow plating. Remember, our guns do not overmatch 32 millimeters. You need at least 457.6, I think, to overmatch. Let me do the math real quick. I'm gonna do it. All right. Pull out the old calculator. We got 457 millimeter guns. You divide that by the 14.3, that gives us 31.958 millimeters that you can overmatch, meaning you cannot overmatch the 32 millimeter bow. Keep that in mind. I keep bringing that up because a lot of people are going to jump in this ship or buy this ship quickly thinking, oh my god, I'm going to overmatch everything at tier 6. It's going to be great. No. But it is a great ship. And I highly recommend you pick it up because it is a lot of fun to play. But that's just me. I enjoy American battleships anyway, so I might be an exception here. That being said, you do have a slightly raised citadel, so you got to be careful given full broadside. The rear gun, surprisingly, doesn't have the worst firing angle in the world. I'll be real honest. I thought it was going to be worse than it is. It is not. So you can get a full broadside off while still maintaining some angle, which is nice. And then, of course, like I said, the Citadel, from the front gun all the way to the just beyond the rear gun, and it is slightly raised, but basically, if you've ever played the Iowa, you know what happens when you go broadside. So just be careful. She's fast, above average maximum movement speed. She's got big guns. This ship is armed with high caliber main battery guns. Those 18-inch guns at tier 7 are disgusting. Reloader, above average main battery reload speed. The reason this thing reloads faster than a triple barrel 16-inch gun is because it's a double barrel gun. Double barrel guns generally reload faster than 3 guns because you're loading 2 instead of 3. Make sense? Alright, so Georgia, a high-speed battleship project which preceded Iowa-class ships. The main battery comprised 457 millimeter guns placed in twin turrets, which were developed alongside the project of the ship herself in 1938. She was designed in 1938, but never actually built. Instead, we get Iowas, which I love the Iowas, but still, 18-inch guns. Bigger guns, better. Bigger booms, you know what I'm saying? We're back in the New York port, by the way. Got a Zeppelin flying around there. Surprised there's no UFO flying around. It is coming up on the Independence Day, so at least that's not back. But yeah, let's take a look at her. Again, good-looking ship. You can't really argue with it. 18-inch guns, gotta love it. Iowa, it looks like an Iowa to me. But yeah, Iowa with 18-inch guns, essentially, is what the Georgia is. It's a fantastic ship. So, with that being said, let's get to the gameplay. Alrighty, so we're in Georgia, and we are on Estuary. Now, I've said it many, many times. Estuary is one of my favorite maps in the game. Actually, I call it my favorite map in the game. It's just a lot of fun. A lot of people get really complacent on Estuary and sit still because they can shoot pretty much everywhere on the map from the spawn. I mean, look at our coverage right now. We have the ability to shoot pretty much everybody on the map currently. That's insane, right? But what I like about Estuary is it does really, really support people who are aggressive. I'm aggressive. I don't know if you guys noticed. we are going to push up into the mid. We get the mid spawn, which is actually one of my favorite spawns. Everybody else is like, and I say everybody, like all of my friends that are really good players hate estuary, hate the mid spawn. I don't understand why. It allows you to be super flexible and also go quite a while without necessarily being spotted, unless, of course, an enemy across from you throws up a spy plane or something immediately. Spy plane? Spotter plane. Or a catapult fighter. But right off the bat, you're going to see me look around. I believe I lock my guns to try to get everybody, you know, keep my guns in the same area. Look around, check out what my enemies are. You can see the division of the Florida and the Hood on the right. They also, I believe, have a cruiser over there, which I think is a Kutuzov. I am going to push up mid and support the left flank. I can support either flank, but given the fact that it is the new Florida and a Hood pushing up onto 3 people right now, 2 of them being cruisers, I figure there's a good chance that my team should be able to hold that. Now, we get a first look, and this is what I'm talking about. We didn't get spotted until super late. We get that beautiful broadside, and these 18-inch guns do not mess around, folks. Pow! Dropping the bomb from downtown, and starting out with 20,000 damage salvo. Not too shabby, folks. Yeah, don't sleep on these 18-inch guns. If you give this thing a broadside, you deserve everything that's coming to you. Seriously. Now, you can see I'm kind of turning towards like I'm about to bow tank the guys on the right because I'm anticipating getting shot. We get a look at the Bismarck, and we take that shot right off the bat. Again, not necessarily aiming for the waterline, aiming a little high. He actually wasn't going as fast as I thought, but it doesn't matter because we do get a penetration and an overpin, doing a nice little chunk of damage to him, about 5k. Now, this York is sitting here, and he's being shot at by pretty much everybody, so I figure, York will be fine. I shouldn't need to shoot at him, so we'll wait and maybe shoot at Battleship. This indecisiveness by me actually ends up costing me a little bit of damage here. Because, honestly, this York, I should have just removed him. You know what I'm saying? Just get rid of the... He's a torp threat. He's a fire threat. Get rid of him. You already hit him once. He's just sitting there in the open. Clearly, nobody else can hit him. I thought he was going to be dead. He starts to reverse, so I go ahead and take the shot, and he actually immediately throws it in forward and gets moving out of there. I thought I was going to get a good hit on the Bismarck instead, but the Bismarck is sailing away from us a little bit, so that manages to keep him from getting smacked. But, yeah. Just as we get thinking about shooting the York again, the Louis Spartan over there, and keep an eye on that man, Prinz Eugen over there, Louis Spartan. Dude and I carried this team hard. It ain't even close. Nobody else on this team does as much as the 2 of us did. Seriously. You'll see what I mean by the end of the match. But we get a very good salvo there, hitting the Bismarck for about 13 grand. Up to 40,000 damage done already. And that ain't all, folks. We're going to have one heck of a game, and it's going to come down to the wire. Because our team does not seem like they are interested in fighting. And these are the games that I actually... Like, I don't mind these games because the enemies are putting themselves in positions to be countered one at a time, which is beautiful. Another beautiful salvo. This thing is actually really accurate. That's scary for me. Not only is it fast reloading, and you could knock the reload down on this a lot more if you wanted, but I don't think you want to necessarily do that. I want to keep my accuracy because you don't get that many shells. You only get 6 shells on a full broadside. Okay, and so you want to make every one of those shells count. You know what I'm saying? I take a shot here against the Atlanta. He actually turns out and starts sailing away, so I don't end up hitting him. We do have a Florida here, and so I'm going to take a look at him, see what we can get into. I know the Florida is not the heaviest armored thing in the world, but it does have 12 guns. It has 3 quadruple 356mm guns. So you got to kind of watch out. And those things, do not sleep on them either. That AP is fantastic. It's still American AP. You give that thing a broadside, it'll make you pay, even at Tier 7. 356mm guns are plenty if you screw up. I think those are 14-inch guns, right? 356s? And then 380s are the 15-inch guns. But anyway, all that matters is don't give him a broadside because it will hurt. A lot. But I see a lot of people shooting HE out of them already. I don't necessarily think that that's what you want to be doing in it. This one's an AP salvo. Look at him. Okay, he didn't do anything to us that time. We're angled pretty well to him. But just as we fire at him, we get another decent shot. Again, we know he doesn't have armor enough to bow or stern tank us, so we do overmatch him. You need at least 16-inch guns to overmatch a Tier 6 battleship, most of them. But Champagne out here broadside on mostly. I mean, he is angled slightly away, but we're going to take that shot any day of the week. And that dispersion is godly. And it hits hard, but it lands a little high. We didn't quite lead him as much, or we led him a little too far in, distance. So next shot, we're going to adjust for that if we can. And you can see Champagne taking some torpedoes. He's being a little too aggressive for his own good. And if we can line up one good shot here, we aim much lower this time. And yeah, we don't get as good of a salvo as I was hoping. But still, 6,200 damage, nothing to sneeze at. And you can see Florida actually probably wished he had loaded AP there. If that was AP, he probably could have hurt me real bad. But luckily for me, it was HE. He sets a fire. Does a lot of damage for the HE, but not that bad. And I'm contemplating who I should shoot here. And I'm thinking, okay, now's my chance to get rid of this Atlanta. He's super close. He's angled, so I might not overpin him. And that's about the time that the Prinz Eugen just dev strikes him. Good God. And then Prinz Eugen also manages to torp the Champagne. And because of that, that frees me up to do everything. And I'm going to make sure that the enemies left on this team do not get away with this. Now, our Prinz Eugen has done fantastic. He ended up dying right there. I appreciate everything he was doing. But you notice there is another cruiser here. And there is also another battleship. The battleship is actually a King George. And so he's not really been useful. I mean, he is shooting HE, I guess, at the Florida, but the Florida is going to shrug that off. He's probably out of range of the King George by now. I think that's the cruiser shooting at him. But you can see we do have the cruiser coming back towards us. We're trying to keep all of the attention of the Florida on us. I don't want him shooting at our cruiser. I don't want him shooting at our other battleship. I have the armor to deal with these little guns of his. As long as I stay angled relatively well. I also have the guns to put a hurting on him, even when he's angled. As long as I'm hitting like towards the front or the rear, we should be chunking him pretty good. You can see he gets a really nice salvo. There's 9,000 damage. There's nothing to sneeze at, man. And then we hit him back for 10,000. So you gotta love it. And that brings us up to 96,000 damage already. There's still 4 enemies left. And not gonna lie, we're not going to get a whole lot of help with the rest of these enemies. It's going to be all us, folks. You can see they are trying. Somebody is trying to burn them down with the cruiser. But it's just not working for them. And we get a final shot off, and we actually get the kill because he went full broadside in front of us while turning. He thought he could get away with it. Unfortunately for him, my faster reload, and we were able to beat the island, so he goes down. Now, the Florida on the enemy team finishes off our hood, and that is the last guy standing between them and winning that side. Now, there's two things I could do here. I could push straight across into Bravo, or I could go back and try to defend Charlie. I choose to go back and defend Charlie because I feel that that's the best play for the enemy team to make right now. We're about to have a cap advantage on them, and so they need to negate that. So I am assuming that they are going to come back and try to capture Charlie. And so that's what I'm trying to avoid. So I'm going to push all the way back across the front, and we will get our engine boost back in 40 seconds. We got a spotter plane still. We still have most of our health. We've got 2/3 of our health. We've no more heals left. So we've got to make sure that we make the most of this. Now, we are detected this entire time. That enemy Florida that we just killed, his plane goes up right as he dies. And so he was keeping me detected pretty well. And so the enemy should know I'm coming. They should. And you'll see the enemy actually makes a really good play here. It doesn't work out for them, but they make a really good play. They split up. They send a battleship and cruiser back towards Bravo to deal with our cruiser and potentially capture that base. And they also sent one of their battleships to Charlie. that would be able to flip the caps in their favor. So they would have 3 caps, we would only have 1. That's a huge advantage. Unfortunately for them, this is exactly what I was anticipating when I said that I was going back to defend Charlie. If I can defend Charlie, that keeps at least one of these caps in our favor, and we are now officially on engine boost. Now you can see I'm looking to make sure I know what we're up against. We're up against the Hood, we're up against the Florida, and we're up against a Kutuzov. So this is where you really need to keep an eye on the map, okay? You want to make sure you know where everybody's at and who you can affect. Now, obviously, Florida's giving me a little bit too much angle. We're going to take that shot every time. But notice we're not firing the rear gun at him, right? We want to stay pretty well angled, so we're going bow in on him, going straight at him. And then I notice a Kutuzov on my left. So we go ahead, we aim that shot out ahead of him, take it with the rear guns. Wait for it. Got him. And there's our high caliber with 136,000 damage, citadeling a Kutuzov with these 18-inch guns. So you gotta love that. We take another shot, and we're showing this Florida that we overmatch his bow. He only has 25 millimeters of bow armor. We know this, and we have 18-inch guns. So we're going straight through, and he can't return the favor because he only has 356 millimeter guns, and I have a 32 millimeter bow. So I have all of the advantage here. I'm also trying to rotate my guns back to the right, my rear gun back to the right. I fire straight through the bow, getting 3 out of 4 hits through the bow. Somehow getting an overpin, I don't know how that worked, but we get 3 out of 4 hits, taking him down to a one-shot kill. We're able to swing wide, get that rear gun involved because we were already ready for it. That was a railgun, folks. Those 2 shells were touching. Even though it says we only hit him with 1 shell, we only needed the 1 to kill him. But yeah, that was fantastic. I'm really enjoying this. Now, we've got a Hood who's got half his hit points. We got a Kutuzov who should be very low after he had already taken some damage and we citadeled him. So he's very low, and you can see he's almost dead. We've got 2 kills. We've got 160,000 damage, high caliber Confederate. We've done everything for our team up to this point. And now we're going to look for our opportunity. We can shoot over the island, just barely. And unfortunately, not going to give us the most here. We overpin and do no real damage, and then we ricochet. Not preferable. Still got 37 seconds of using that engine boost, though. And you can see coming out of these massive turns, we lose a little bit of velocity, but not that much. We're still maintaining 24.5, and then as soon as we straighten up, we're going to be going much faster. We're going to be getting up to that 27 knots pretty quick. Hood out here is giving me a solid angle. It's not exactly what you're looking for when we shoot at something, but he doesn't have that much armor. We're able to punch him pretty decent here, getting 8,500 damage. And again, we're getting the rear guns rotating around. You're keeping your head on a swivel, trying to plan ahead. We already had those guns rotating, and so it only takes a little bit to get this gun involved. And as soon as we're able to fire, we take the shot. Cool people don't look at explosions, and down he goes. Are we going to be able to get the Hood to finish him off? Wait for it. Got him. Down he goes. Citadel and the double strike to finish it off. So we managed to kill the last 4 enemies by ourselves. Not too shabby. Do I like the Georgia? Absolutely. Will I be buying the Georgia? Absolutely. I might even decide to buy this campaign immediately. 178,000 damage, Confederate, high caliber, double strike, top of the leaderboard, 4 kills, 3,000 base XP. So if you like what I'm doing, punch the like button, leave a comment below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and as always, I will see you in the next video.